What's going on, guys? It's your host, Jackie Chism, back again with another episode of the Chism Sports Groove. That's the CSG if you didn't know. And today we got a great show for you guys today. I definitely think we should talk about the college football playoffs. You got Alabama versus Cincinnati, Michigan versus Georgia. There's going to be some great games tonight. It's already New Year's Eve, so might as well get hype about it. We got the Dolphins coming in for Titans time. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. We definitely got to talk about Week 17 and the lock chances and our Wildcards. But we're going to talk about some NBA, and we got some bowl games in Vegas, baby. We also going to talk about a couple more topics in hot news and not news. And I definitely got to go over Logan Ryan and what the fuck he talking about. What's wrong with you, dude? All right, guys. It's CSG. Let's get it. What's going on, guys? We're back again with another episode. I think I'm going to start off jump right into these college playoff games, man. Like, I love the college playoffs. Ever since Mariota, showed out against Jameis Winston, and we ended up drafting him afterwards, I've been paying, super attention ever since. Ever since Derrick Henry and Zeke Elliott went at it in those playoff games, it's been amazing times. I'm so excited for these games coming up, guys. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. We're going to start off talking about the first game up today. We definitely know that, Alabama and Cincinnati are going to go at it. Alabama is a 13-point underdog, is a 13-point favorite in this one, I'm sorry. But I don't necessarily know if that's going to be the case. Cincinnati definitely has a good quarterback. They have a lot of talent across the board, offensive and defensively. So you expect them to try to play hard. They have great coaching and to be in this game. I feel like quarterback play between Desmond Ridder and Bryce Young is going to be the difference in this game. Turnovers as well. Whoever turns the ball over less, to either one of the teams and the 5-star recruits and NFL players that they have on each one of these teams, is going to win this game. That's the main one. Next, definitely want to talk about the running games for each team. Alabama has an amazing running game. They always have offensive linemen that are going pro, but Cincinnati definitely has a good running game as well, especially with their running quarterback. Both of these teams have a running quarterback, so you have to you cannot sell out on one or the other. You have to go after one. You have to go after both. You have to make sure you defend the quarterback and the massive amounts of running backs that Alabama and Cincinnati has. Whoever can win the running game and control the clock of possession, I feel like the time of possession is going to be in big control of this game. I also want to see how Cincinnati's defensive backs go up against the Alabama wide receivers. Alabama definitely has a bunch of first round, second round picks on as wide receivers for Bryce Young to throw it to. Cincinnati definitely has some first round, second round picks, some really talented guys that they can leave up there as well. You like to see the matchup of who gets the best out of what. I'm not putting it either way. All right. Next indicator I think is going to be the big plays in this game. Both of them have big play opportunities, offensively and defensively. It just depends on which team's gonna come out with the most. I think Alabama, with their wide receivers and with their running backs and the talent that they have, I'm not ever betting against them. But I think that they definitely have a big chance of creating a lot of big plays in this one that's going to swing the game. Cincinnati needs to hone in on those big plays and the opportunities that they do get early in this game, because that's going to help them later on in the game. Now it's time for my predictions. I definitely don't think this is going to be a game. I'm actually going with Alabama covering a 13-point spread, winning this game 30-16. All right, guys, so the second game we got this evening, we definitely got to talk about Michigan, number 2, and number 3, Georgia. I think that these two teams are easily going to be one of the greatest games of the season if the inconsistent quarterback play does not show up. Stetson Bennett has been inconsistent all game, especially against Alabama. I know Michigan runs 2 quarterbacks at all the time because they still are getting a lot of inconsistent play. If they had consistent play, there's no way they'd be taking a quarterback off the field. There's no way you take Aaron Rodgers off the field at any point in time. I don't care what package you got. So, I definitely think that whoever has the most consistent quarterback play out of this one, whoever can get the most rushing yards, the most touchdowns, and the most turnovers, defensively, and whoever can own the time of possession is going to win this game. In that regard, I definitely think I'm going to go with Georgia in this one. I think I had 27-21. I just think that they're going to get Michigan off the field. Michigan's not going to go for a lot of fourth downs. They're going to punt a lot. Georgia's defense is going to stand strong, especially in the short yard games. I feel like their defensive line is just that good. But I think they're also good enough to get turnovers as well. I know who we're looking at here, and McNamara or the other quarterback that Michigan uses. They're definitely not 5-star top recruits at this point. I imagine it's maybe either the system or the lack of opportunity within the system. But those quarterbacks are turnover prone. They do not make the best out of situations. So you like to see what you get out of the strengths and weaknesses as well. I'm looking at the Dogs winning this one 27-21 over Michigan. All right, guys, when we come back, we're definitely going to talk about Titans time. They got the Dolphins coming in to Nashville, and I definitely like what we've seen so far. All right, guys, when we come back. What's going on, guys? It's time for that. You already know, Titans time. Welcome back, my fellow Titans fans, for this one. We are having a great year this year. I don't care what nobody say. We should not have lost 2 games to the Jaguars and the Texans, but I think that we've turned the corner and we're going to do great this year. We got the Dolphins coming into Nashville this weekend. I love what I'm seeing from the matchup standpoints. In this one, let's break it down a little bit more as well. We are able to get back Nate Davis and Taylor Warren today, Friday, for practice. So I like that against their defensive line. That's going to be one of our biggest matchups as well this weekend, is how our offensive line, which has given up about 45 sacks this year, which is tied for about top 5 in the league, against the Dolphins defensive line, which has gotten about 45 sacks this year, which is number 1 in the league. So you can see Tannehill's probably going to get hit a couple times in this game. How can we adjust that? How can our offensive line block up and scheme around enough? How can Tannehill call out the projections enough that he needs to maneuver through these times? Because we actually were decent against the San Francisco 49ers defense, especially with an undrafted player in Aaron Brewer and a second-round pick that we did not use all year in Dylan Radunz starting on an entire side of the. So I mean, you like what you saw from that. I mean, Nick Bosa didn't have a great game against us, so that means our offensive line did a good job against him. Emmanuel Ogbo is a beast. They had Jalen Phillips. They got some real pieces there in Miami on that defensive line, and they are willing to send pressure as well. So you gotta be able to block. You gotta be able to pick up and give Tannehill enough time to throw it. Because he's shown last week that if you give him enough time, it don't matter if it's 3rd and 14, if it's 3rd and 8, if it's 3rd and 10, if it's 1st and 20, it don't matter. He's going to make a right read as long as you give him enough time to get it there. Next, I also want to see how Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, who are back and healthy, go up against our depleted wide receiver core. I want to say Julio was in the COVID protocol. Cody Hollister was also in COVID protocol as well. Nick Westbrook-Akina was also in there. So we're really thin. I think that only leaves us like Chester Rogers, AJ Brown, who actually had an injury coming off with a calf injury coming off of the last game. I think that's more of a reaction to the chest injury and not being able to go like he wanted to while he was on IR. Hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully he's good. AJ Brown's a man amongst boys. He's a beast. You never heard him complain not one time in his 3 years about any injury, and he's always came out and gave a dog's effort. Like, he's gave everything impossible. So I mean, I'm not really worried about AJ. I'm worried about his supporting cast as well, because Nick Westbrook-Akina has played really well this year. Chester Rogers is okay as a backup slot guy, but Julio takes away. Like, you have to count for Julio, or he will burn you, like he should have burned the Steelers at the beginning of that game. We're gonna see how it goes from there. I mean, we got some huge names out still. With Jayon Brown. I think David Long's actually back this week, so that's a good thing. Bud Dupree's out right now. Danico Autry's out. I mean, it's getting bad with the COVID, but luckily the CDC has readjusted their protocols, so we might be able to have these guys back, some of these guys back at least, for the game Saturday. Hopefully it doesn't affect them long term, like we've seen. And we can just go from there. All right. So I got 3 keys to my game today as well. I definitely think that the time of possession, turnovers, and rushing yards are going to be the key to this game today. I think that the Titans will win the rushing yards and time of possession. Now, this is just the thing. Like, when a team is able to get that much pressure as the Dolphins is, who's going to win the turnover battle? Tua and Jacoby Brissett are good for at least one. So we cannot give up, more than one turnover this game, or we are running the risk of losing it. There's been games where we just walked in, you just did not expect Tannehill to throw any interceptions, have a great game, like especially against the Texans, and he turns around and throws for not 1, not 2, but 4 interceptions. And we cannot come back out of that hole, even against a team as dire as the Texans are right now. So as long as we win those 3 categories, turnovers, rushing yards, and time of possession, I think we're going to be okay. We're going to be really good in this one. When we win those 3, I actually have the Titans winning 24-14, well more than covering their 3.5 point spread this weekend. So I can't wait to see this game Sunday. I can't wait for the next one. Hopefully Derek's back in that one. Hopefully we get some people back off that COVID list. Like especially again since the CDC has made a mockery of their own the protocols that they applied upon businesses like this. But yeah, it's playoff time coming up. We got like a playoff position to crunch. I think we can end up kicking the Dolphins out as well. So I mean, it's a big weekend for Titans and Titans fans. Tighten up all weekend. I can't wait to see this game this weekend. I know we're gonna be a foot in their ass all weekend. So let's go, let's effing go. Tighten up. All right, guys. When we come back, it's Vegas, baby. We're gonna go over a little bit of Week 17 some more. And we're gonna go over NBA, and we're gonna definitely talk about some of these bowl games. All right, guys. When we come back.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
What's going on, guys? Back again with another episode of Vegas, baby. Definitely want to go right into our Week 17 locks of the week. I want to start off with the Bears. I definitely think that they're going to cover their 6.5 point spread against the Giants. With Daniel Jones, with McGlennon, with Mike Glennon, with Jake Fromm, they are terrible right now. I think the Bears are going to definitely cover this spread in this one. Hopefully Justin Fields is back for this one. They got so much speed. They got good running backs. Their defense is playing a little bit more up. And if they were able to get a 1 point out over with Nick Foles over the Seahawks, I think they're that much better than the Giants because they are terrible this year. Y'all should have been fighting for a number 1 spot. Hopefully y'all could have got you a quarterback. Now you didn't do that. Now good luck. Next, I definitely think that Tom Brady owns the Jets. No matter what you say. I think Robert Saleh and a lot of his coaching staff were in the protocol this week, so look for him not to be there as well. I know you're in New York, so he is vaccinated, or else he would not be able to allow it at the games. I know that from Kyrie. So we're looking for him to be back in that one, but it doesn't help Ethan much at the no matter what the injuries are to the Buccaneers. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers own the Jets. When he was a Patriot, it was not even close. You would think that it was a 40-point favorite for the Patriots. Take that 40. I think this is the same way this week. I think they're going to have enough firepower with AB, with Ronald Jones, with Gronk, that they're going to light them up. The defense is haphazard. It's the offense is lethargic at best. So I think Tom Brady's going to run through them on that one. Next, I also want to take the Raiders over the Vikings. Packers over the Vikings. I'm sorry. The Packers over the Vikings in this one. I think just today, Kirk Cousins entered COVID protocol, so he will not be able to play in that one. You're probably looking at Kellen Mond or another backup that they're pulling out from somewhere to play that game. With Kirk Cousins, you barely had a chance. Without Kirk Cousins, you have no chance, no shot in hell. It's only a 7-point spread in that one. I think there could be a 2, 3, 4 touchdown game in that one as well. All right, guys, definitely run right into my chances right quick as well. We got some good ones this week because I'm going to start off right with the Seattle Seahawks. I think that they're definitely going to cover their 7-point spread against the Lions. The way they lost last week was so terrible. Russ wants to be back. Pete Carroll wants him back. Pete Carroll wants to be back. Most of the team wants to be back. They have some good pieces in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Rashad Penny looks like a first-round pick sometimes. Only sometimes. Carlos Dunlap is really well. They got some good pieces in that secondary as well. So I'm looking at the Seahawks to actually cover their 7-point spread and win that one. Next, I definitely wanted to talk about the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. I ain't betting against them. You shouldn't bet against them. For the last 7-8 weeks, they've been flying. It don't matter if it's Hurts or if it's Minshew. They're putting up points. That the running game is nonstop. Their secondary is flying around. Their defensive line with Fletcher Cox is getting pressure all the time. Brandon Graham, I love what I'm seeing from the Eagles. I think that they're a playoff team. If they can hold it together, then I think they're going to definitely cover their 4-point spread against the Washington football team that just gave up 56 points last week. I think they're going to be a playoff team this year, and they're not nothing to sneeze at. They can give somebody a run for their money this year. All right, my next chance, I'm going to take a chance on the Patriots this weekend, covering a 16-point spread against the Jaguars. Only reason why is because it is the Jaguars. If it was anybody else, I'm not taking a 16-point spread with Mac Jones. The offense is too limited at this point. They're not letting Mac Jones cook the way he needs to cook. They're going to rely heavily on their running game. They don't have an explosion in the wide receiver core that you can really use. So I'm going to stay, but I'm still going to take the chance because the Jacksonville Jaguars gave you no point of thinking that they're able to keep up score-wise or defensively with the Patriots. All right, guys, I definitely want to go right into my wild cards for this weekend. I think I got some good ones as well. I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Raiders over the Colts. This is more of a personal thing for me. We need the Colts to lose. The Carson Wentz did go into COVID protocol. He's unvaccinated. With the CDC's new mandates and the new outlook on with people who get infected, he might be able to come back. But again, because he's unvaccinated, I think that's going to affect him a little bit differently. And we're looking at Sam Ehlinger against the Raiders. I don't like that matchup for the Colts. I love that matchup for the Raiders. Even if they don't win in that one, I do think that they're going to cover their spread. I would put my money on that right now. Next, I'm going with the Bengals over the Chiefs. I heard Ocho Cinco say it. At first, I thought he was wild and insane. But just looking at the way that the Chiefs defense is playing against a good offensive team, I don't think that they're going to get that many stops. There's not many stops to have against a good team like Joe Burrow when he's cooking. So I do think that the Bengals not going to win this one. Even though I need them to win this one. I don't think they're going to win this one, but I do think it's going to be at least a 3-point game, which means that the Bengals are going to cover that spread. All right, my next game, I'm going to go against Dallas. If you know anything about me, I hate Dallas. I don't like the Cowboys. I don't like the fans even worse. My boy Rico will tell you straight up that they don't have some unearned confidence about that team and that franchise. And I feel like that's exactly what's going to hurt them this weekend. You don't have a solid running game. Dak is throwing the ball everywhere into anybody, either team. You do have some injuries on the back end. I do like Michael Parsons. I do like Diggs as well. But Kyler Murray is a Heisman Trophy winner. He was the MVP to start this season. I feel like they're still because they're still in the playoff hunt, trying to figure out where they land between 1 and 4, 2 and 4 at this point. I think that they're definitely going to give the Dallas all the run for their money. This is a highly politicized game for Dallas, so this is a prime game for them to throw away like they usually do for Thanksgiving or Christmas Day or something of that magnitude. All right, guys, I definitely think we should go right into some NBA primetime games. We got a couple of days to go over right quick. I definitely want to start with tonight. I think we're definitely going to talk about these Hawks of Atlanta They're going to Cleveland to play the Cavaliers. I got the Hawks in this one, only because the Cavaliers have been like decimated by injuries so far this year. It's ridiculous. Colin Sexton's already out for the rest of the year with a torn meniscus. Now you have Ricky Rubio. He's out for the rest of the season with his injury. Darius Garland's out right now with COVID and another injury as well. I mean, you just have not much to prove to show for at that point guard position right now. And that's really where they've been like head and shoulders above the rest of the East as well. I mean, like in the top category of the East for the most part. They definitely have some really good point guard play. They really had some really good like passing. So I mean, they're really team oriented. They've been together for a little minute. So I mean, I like the Cavs. I want to see them get healthy so we can see what they're going to do going forward. But I'm going with the Hawks in this one. All right, guys. Next, we're going to talk about the Clippers traveling to Toronto to play the Raptors. I think that the Clippers are going to take this one, like only because the supporting cast that they do have: Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Terrence Mann, Morris Twin, even B.J. Boston's came on, like Zubats come on really strong as a big man in the middle. And I just don't see the Toronto Raptors matching up really well against this team. Siakam's back. Van Vliet's playing the most minutes in the league. Gary Trent Jr. is playing really well right now. Boucher's playing amazingly right now. So it's going to be a good game, but I'm just going to go with the West because the West is a little bit stronger than the East. I think that the Clippers are depth-wise are good to match up for our Raptors team. Next, we got the Lakers traveling to Portland to play the Blazers. I'm going with the Lakers in this one. Blazers have been so iffy. There's been so much going on. They got so many young legs in that one that like you would want to go with them, but I think that LeBron is on a tear right now. It's after Christmas, and he's going to have to like step up to get them through this time until the AD comes back. And I think he will. He's played amazing. I think he's easily top 3 in the league in 30-point games to this point, and he's 37 in year 19. Like, it's ridiculous. The only thing that's holding them back is Russ and them fucking turnovers. Like, every day I can see Skip and Shannon go over a turnover package for fucking Russell Westbrook. But you are too fucking old. You played too long in this league to make the same mistakes you make. You cost your team every day and you don't get it. It's very frustrating. And I'm not even a Lakers fan. Woo! All right, guys, going to run over to Saturday, in which we definitely got the Bulls traveling to Washington to play the Wizards. I actually like the Bulls in that one. They're getting healthy. They're coming off of the protocol. Once you get those antibodies and you get you start getting past the COVID restrictions and protocols, like you start seeing what you put together. And the Bulls have put together an amazing team. DeRozan and Levine are probably the number 1 and number 2 duo in the league right now. I don't know if I put anybody above them duo-wise. Those two, and once they get Lonzo Ball back, and once they get Caruso back, it's going to be even worse. Kobe White's playing ice mind. Vucevic is a double-double waiting to happen. I mean, they got so much deep depth on that bench as well. It's actually kind of scary. And they're built for a championship team. They don't talk about it, but they are. Next, we got the Clippers traveling to Brooklyn to play against the Nets. I think KD's definitely back in that one, so I'm going to go with the Nets. James and KD are too much without no PG-13, no Kawhi Leonard. They're going to run all over it. Look for them to tell them where the exit are at the end of this game. All right, next we got the Golden State Warriors traveling to Utah to play the Jazz. I like the Warriors in this one. I don't like the Jazz. The Jazz record never reflects how they really play when the time matters at all. But they're a great regular season team. I think Donovan Mitchell does not get the ball nearly enough, and in the playoffs, it always shows. Rudy Gobert gets the ball too fucking much, and in the playoffs, it always shows. Joe Ingles and Bogdanovich are great role pieces. Clarkson's a bucket waiting to happen off the bench. But I just don't trust them against the top tier teams. That's where most of their losses is going to come from. That's where they'll stay from, because those are teams they're going to see in the playoffs, and they're going to end up losing as well. All right, let's kick on over to Saturday right quick. We're going to start off with the Knicks traveling to Toronto to play the Raptors. I actually like the Knicks in this one. This is the first time I'm going with the Knicks in a while, but only because of what I've seen. Hopefully Julius Randle's out of protocol by then. But if Julius Randle's in protocol, I'm actually going to go with the Raptors. It just depends on how it goes. I like R.J. Barrett. I like Kemba Walker. I like Evan Fournier, Mitchell Robinson. They do have some team. They do have a good team. Emmanuel Quickly's back, and he's playing good. So I like what they can be, especially defensively with Tibbs being the coach and making sure they're bogging down on them. Defensively, I like what I see and what they could be, if they be it. Next, we're going to talk about the Heat traveling to Sacramento to play the Kings. I just don't see how De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes are going to be enough in this one. I think that the little boys, Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero are just like shooting with like all confidence right now, and it's hard to match up against those two because once you start paying attention to one super hard, the other one's coming off the screens and he's looking for wide open shots as well. You still have Kyle Lowry. You still have a deep bench as well that the Miami can use. Eric Spoelstra's a great coach. I'm just gonna go with the Heat in this one. All right, next we got the T-Wolves traveling to LA to play the Lakers. And I'm going to stay with the Lakers. This is probably the first time I picked the Lakers twice in a Vegas Baby segment. But I think that only reason why LeBron James is going to be there to make sure that I'm not looking stupid at the end of this. Because I feel like, he's playing some of the best basketball he's ever played in his career. I don't think he's ever, except for when he first got to Miami, was able to put up as many points as he's happened to put up right now. And the fact that he has to and he's doing it, I'm not going to bet against him right now as well. I mean, I seen the way he played against the Grizzlies. He was going off, but everybody else around them just did not show up. You cannot keep expecting that out of a LeBron-led team. He makes everybody around him better, and you just cannot wait to see until that effect takes hold on the rest of his teammates, especially like a Taylor Horton Tucker or Russell Westbrook, who has 5 to 10 fucking turnovers every game. All right, guys, we're definitely going to switch it up right quick, and we're going to definitely run right into a bowl game as well. We got a few games on this weekend, and I can't wait to watch them at least. We're just going to start off with Washington State. They're playing against Central Michigan University. I have some friends from SMU. I like what they got going on down there, but I just don't see how Washington State, once they got rid of their stupid ass coach, can continuously turn around with all the talent that they had, cannot win this one. I'm going with Washington State in this one. Sorry, Chippewas. All right, next we got this number 17 Wake Forest Demon Deacons against the Rutgers as well. Rutgers got in on technicalities in this one, and actually the other team actually canceled and dropped out of this game against Wake Forest. And so I'm not sure that Rutgers is even bowl eligible with 5 wins. They went 5-7 this year, and I think they're gonna go end this year 5-8. There's no way that they're going to keep up with the Demon Deacons in this one. There's no way that they were even bowl eligible, and they should not have been in this game. Luckily, they did step in to help out some, but it's not going. It's going to be in vain. All right, next we're going to talk about the Penn State Nittany Lions against Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas is number 21 ranked at this point in this season. I like Jeffries, the quarterback. Trey Burke is a first round pick. I feel like he might not be, but he's got all the talents in the world to be it. It depends on who's playing in this one. As I'm seeing going forward in these bowl games, a lot of the top picks, a lot of top first, second round picks are not playing, not risking injuries. It's stupid though. It's really stupid. Like, go out and play your bowl game, man. Like, you're not getting any other chance. And the only thing you can do is either make you some money or lose you some money. But if you made you some money and you had a great season, then like, bro, play the game and help your team win, bro. Like, add some more like hardware to what you already have. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing else gonna hurt you from getting more experience. Now, unless you're like a quarterback with a bad offensive line, sit the fuck down. They ain't gonna do nothing to get you hurt. But if you're a defensive back, if you're a running back, if you're a wide receiver, I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. Especially the uber talented players. If everybody there is from Arkansas, if they have all their weapons, I feel like Arkansas is gonna run away with this one. I'm not betting against the SEC no more, especially against these other leagues. Penn State's been up and down this year, so look at Arkansas to run over them. Next, we got number 9, Oklahoma State, going against number 5, Notre Dame. I'm sorry, and only because Mike Gundy is still the coach at Oklahoma State. He's still there. He's still rolling. He's still mohawking it out. I mean, he's still hawking it out. Like, he's got it's not a mohawk. I'm sorry, guys. It's what's the Billy Ray Cyrus? The business in the front, party in the back. Yeah, he's still rolling with that ugly like haircut. And so I'm gonna go with Oklahoma State in this one. Brian Kelly just decided, even after being the number 5 team in the nation, barely missing the playoffs, said, "Go fuck yourself. I'm going down to Louisiana." And on his way down there, picked up a fake ass accent to try to like fit in down there as well. So he definitely ain't coming back. I don't know if how that affects the rest of the team going forward. Even though that's the team he built. So I'm going to go stay with the team that actually has their coach that's ranked in the top 10, and we're going to roll with them this weekend. All right, next we got number 15, Iowa, going up against number 22, Kentucky. This is going to be one of those smack you in the mouth. I know Kentucky loves to run the ball, especially with the quarterback. They love option. They have an option strong team on offense. Iowa's Iowa. They have some of the best offensive linemen in the country, some of the best tight ends in the country, some of the best running backs in the country that can run right through you and run right over you and shit. So, I mean, it's going to be a great game. I'm, again, not betting against SEC teams because I just feel like them playing against each other is better experience than any other conference gets. So even like a Kentucky, who's usually in the bottom of the SEC and now ranked and playing a New Year's Day game, I think that they're going to win that one. All right, next we got number 11, Utah, up against number 6, Ohio State. Ohio State's going to win this one. I mean, Utah beat my Oregon Ducks twice this year. They looked really good offensively. They have so much speed defensively, but I just don't see them stopping C.J. Stroud. I don't stop them seeing Jackson and Negwa. I don't see them stopping Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson or the running back, or the massive amount of running backs that Ryan Day has down there at his disposal at Ohio State. They still are Ohio State. They still have a shit ton of 5-star recruits everywhere along the offense and defense, and I feel like that's gonna be what helps them win that game. They're just the more talented team, and they're gonna win that one. All right, last but not least, we got number 7 Baylor versus number 8 Ole Miss as well. I looked down my notes. I'm again not going against anybody from the SEC. Lane Kiffin is like one of the greatest coaches I've ever seen. He's a national treasure. We should hold him as such, and he should always be treated as such. Like even though he had only 1 year at Tennessee, in which I've been growing up to be a Tennessee Vols fan, growing up in Tennessee. Like I definitely think that like the way he approached every situation, whether it be the Raiders, Tennessee, USC, anybody, Alabama when he went back there, like even this Ole Miss situation now, like he's mature. Like I think he's matured to this point, but he's always had that like I'm the fucking big dog in this situation like mentality, and like that's gonna ring. If you know anything about Baylor, they've had some issues going back to to losing some of their scholarships. The Art Biles got fired. They had Matt Rule who went there, who now is like the Panthers coach. He really took a big chunk of rebuilding that program, and that program was rebuilt. But how long is that sustainable? And what's your opponent? So, like, being that you have an SEC opponent that's played against Alabama, that's played against Mississippi State, that's played against their full slate of, like, SEC opponents all year, I just don't think that they're going to soften up against Baylor. There's not going to be anything Baylor showing them that they've not already seen from, like, one of their bigger schools. So, I'm definitely going to go with Ole Miss in this one. All right, guys, that's it for Vegas, baby. When I come back, we definitely going to go over hot news and not news, and we're going to keep it pushing. All right, guys.
What?
All right, guys, definitely got time for our hot news and not news segment where we go over like the latest topics in today's world of sports, and we just choose if it's hot news, we're gonna talk about it a little bit more, and if it's not news, we're gonna leave it where it stands. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump right into it as well. And the first topic I definitely want to talk about is they've already have the finalists for the Hall of Fame, NFL Hall of Fame class of 2022. And I mean, we got some huge names in this one, including DeMarcus Ware, Andre Johnson, Devin Hester, Torrey Holt, Jared Allen, Reggie Wayne. I mean, it's the Dick Vermeil. I mean, we got some great names in this one. This is definitely news. For one name and one name only, I feel like Devin Hester. If you see him play, he's the best. Like Dion, Peter Ward, Josh Cribbs, none of them is Devin Hester. Like, he's a Hall of Famer because of the qualification that you put into what is a Hall of Famer. Was he the best at what he did over a good period of time? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. The kickoff and return in the Super Bowl alone was ridiculous. I mean, like Danny Green in the press conference for the Cardinals, like we knew what they were, and we let them off the hook. He's talking about Devin Hester. They had no offense. They had a decent defense that was gonna make you punt, but they only had Devin Hester returning the ball. Rex Grossman was not gonna win them shit. That running game, if you sold out on it, they wasn't gonna do shit. And Devin Hester still wins games in primetime. So, like, is he a fucking Hall of Famer? In my mind, yes. There's nobody like Devin Hester I've ever seen. I've watched a million hours of highlights growing up as a child, like in middle school and high school, and when I got to college. And there's one highlight that I never get tired of, and it's always Devin Hester. Devin Hester at University of Miami. Devin Hester when he was playing for the fucking Bears. Devin Hester even has some decent highlights when he played at Atlanta, having another punt return for a touchdown. Devin Hester's done it over a long period of time, and the best that ever did it. I think Brian Mitchell's up there as well. So I'm sorry if I didn't say his name up front, but Devin Hester is the best. He's the GOAT at kick returns. He had a couple field goal returns for a touchdown. I mean, like, just it's ridiculous. It's definite news. Andre Johnson, the former Titan, like, shout out to you, big dog. Like, especially since your time in Titans, it was like before you spent some time in Tennessee, the only thing Tennessee knows you for is beating them every year. We can't cover you. And how the hell you beat the shit out of Cortland Finnegan in that fight? Oh my God. Like, we love Cortland Finnegan down here. We still to this day. So I'm still like, we're so happy that you actually came and played for us. Against Detroit, you had that game-winning touchdown before you retired. We love you, man. We hope you all the success. Like, this is a great class. I think it's going to be big time. Everybody in this, like, that's been announced, Richard Seymour, Jared Allen, everybody's deserved it. So that's definitely news. I hope that they get all the roses that they need, like, at the end of the day. The next topic that I definitely want to talk about and cover right quick is the NBA protocol and what they're going through. Over 1/3 of the refs in NBA are now in protocol to this day. The G League has actually paused their activities for the time being until they have enough players and referees available to actually coach as well. Do I think that this is news? Hell yeah. Because we've seen what replacement referees do in the league. No player likes that. No player, no fan, nobody, no owner, no front office, nobody likes replacement refs. So 1/3 of them being out looks like we're going to have to go back into replacement refs, and which there's going to be some funky, stupid shit calls going on that might cost teams games, and everybody's like dealing with COVID right now. Everybody's really close right now to what they want to be record-wise, except for probably the Lakers. But like, yeah, you definitely don't want to see that come through. Hopefully they can get their shit together. Hopefully they can get on top of, they get in front of this new Omicron variant that's like super contagious and running through every team, NFL, NBA, Major League Hockey, soccer, anything. All right, next topic we definitely want to talk about is Lamar Jackson. He returned to practice on Thursday, but ended up limping very noticeably in practice as well. If this is news, I think that it is. Only because the Ravens are a game behind the Bengals. I think with Lamar Jackson, they might actually be better than the Bengals, but they have not had him in a few weeks. Tyler Huntley's played really well, but he's no Lamar Jackson. Like, he's not going to give you the same dynamics that Lamar is going to give you. The same amount of like sleepless nights that defensive coordinators get dealing with Lamar Jackson than dealing with Josh Johnson or Tyler Huntley. So I think that this is a huge deal. It's hot news. Like, it's crazy hot news. I think that without Lamar Jackson, they're going to lose in the first round if they make it to the playoffs. With Tyler Huntley, I think he's able to get you to the playoffs. He's able to win a few games to get you there. But without Lamar, your season's over with. This playoffs is about as far as you go. All right, guys, for my fourth topic for the day, I want to talk about Big Ben. In a recent press conference, he hinted that this might be the end. I quote him saying that all signs are pointing towards that this might be it. Talking about the Monday night game against the Browns at Heinz Field and how that might be his actual last game at Heinz Field. I think that this is news only from a legacy standpoint. How many teams have franchise quarterbacks? Everybody would say that they have one, but who's had a 10, 15-year franchise quarterback? Big Ben and Charlie Batch were in the Super Bowl when I was in middle school. Big Ben couldn't throw. It was just a big bruising running back that they had with a cannon arm. You know what I'm saying? And to see him matriculate to the passer that he is, the success that he's had, the multiple Super Bowl wins that he's had, he's had a great career. I grew up in a Steelers household, so I've definitely paid more attention than the average person to the Steelers and their accomplishments. But I'm glad to see Ben going out on his own terms. It's not an injury that's holding him out. I know that he's really he would have liked to go out with better numbers and a better year that he's had than this year. But hey, you're 18. You're this old, and the amount of hits that you've had over your career, and you're still pushing through it, man. Take your bow, dude. If you can take it out, if you can go out on your own terms at the end of the season, man, that's more power to you, bro. I want to shout out to Big Ben. Thank you for all the memories, man, especially growing up in a Steelers household. I wish you would have lost to Tennessee more, to be honest. But other than that, thank you for the amount of effort that you put into this game, man. And being another franchise quarterback, because there's not been many over the last 10, 15 years. So shout out to Big Ben. All right, my last topic for the day, we're going to choose the hot news and non-news, is definitely talk about Brooklyn Nets and how they're willing to bring and how they have brought back Kyrie Irving on a part-time limited basis, knowing that he cannot play in New York, nor can he play in California. I think that this is not news. This is just a fucking weak-ass move for the Brooklyn Nets. You guys are number one seed in your conference. All the onus was on Kyrie Irving, who was sitting at home not getting paid, who was sitting at home, who was sneaking into gyms, middle schools and high schools to fucking play basketball. I know that the COVID's hit you guys really hard, but you had the upper hand. He even said it himself that he was ready for the drawback from his decision, but he was not ready for the repercussions of his decision. Which means that he thought that, that they were going to cater to him a little bit more. They were going to let him into practice, not let him into some of the games as well, because he's not vaxxed, but they were going to work with him. But the simple fact that Steve Nash and Marks definitely said that, no, fuck that. Everybody else is 100% in. You're not in. Get the fuck out of here. I think that that's weak as shit at this point to go back and say, no, fuck that. So that's not news to me. That's just some weak ass moves to put money into a Russian billionaire's pocket as usual. It's always some shit to make a rich person rich at the end of the day. Kyrie Irving, fuck you, bro. You ain't stand for shit at the end of the day, to be honest, bro. What did you really stand for? On that note, we definitely going to go right to my final thoughts on him. We come back from a quick break right quick. We're going to talk about one Logan Ryan. What the fuck, dude? All right, guys. All right, guys, we're back again with my final thoughts for the day. And I want to talk about nobody other than Logan Ryan. I ain't got no notes. I ain't got nothing written down for this topic at all. I don't need none. If you want to, you can check out this video right now and see what Logan Ryan had to say.
I'm curious. I mean, fans are upset. They're angry. They're disappointed in the season and really the last few years. I'm wondering how much you and the players in general realize it, hear it, or talk about it even at all.
No, we realize it, and it's just not okay. Their reaction is okay. What the product isn't okay right now, and I take that to heart as a leader on this team. I haven't felt like the preparation and the work has always generated to the results on the field, and I understand that, and I take my share of ownership on that. I just try to symbolize the way to play and how I play and control what I can control. I can't control the positions I'm put in on the field. I can't control the score all the time, but I just try to play every snap hard, especially last game, finishing that game off and stuff like that. But no, I understand that we have a great fan base, a ton of tradition. It's a privilege to play here. I played in a franchise in Tennessee where the fan base was non-existent. Like, you couldn't even get fans to the games. You had to put tickets half off to get fans to the games. So I understand the tradition of this area, the history of the NFC East, what these rivalries mean with Philly and Dallas and the Washington football team. It means a lot. I mean, it's what people talk about day in and day out.
All right, guys. Definitely, I think that's bullshit. I think that's bullshit. First of all, if you know the situation that he came into, Logan Ryan has never been on a bad team. Now, if he was talking about a Kim Wisenhunt year, like that preceded him, before Mike Mularkey, before Vrabel, when they went 5-32 or some shit like that, 5-31 over a 32-game period, 5-27, like they won 5 games in 2 years. I understand, because I went to one of those games. I saw Charlie Whitehurst check it down almost every play against the Colts in the last game of the season, and it wasn't worth my fucking money. But he's played through 9-7, 9-7, 9-7 in the AFC Championship game. So what the fuck are we talking about? He sit there and talk about how the fans are non-existent and you got to pay half off. You got to put half off for them to show up. How does that come out of a fucking millionaire's mouth? You got paid more than $30 million in 3 years to play in Tennessee. You had no problem when the Tennessee Titans were taxing the fucking government to get to pay your salary. And all of us Titans fans here who are paying our fucking taxes to pay your overbloated salary for what? To play a fucking flag football game with tackling. Shut the fuck up, bro. You're not doing shit. You're not talking about shit. You play for the fucking for the fucking Giants. You played, this is your second year there. You're trash. You're over 30 years old. The team fucking sucks. You could have took Adoree with you because y'all were the problem with why we wasn't getting over the hunt to begin with. They already told you they wasn't going to sign you because they needed more vertical, which means you were slow. You were not able to play the way that they needed to play. So I feel like all this coming out of your mouth now is like some scorned girlfriend type shit right now. Like, I've had plenty of scorned girlfriends, so I know how this shit sounds. Like, especially when you just leave their ass and you told them that, I don't really want to fuck with you no more. Like, at the end of this, we done. Like, yeah, they're going to go to the next place, even though the next place is way worse. Like, and still talk shit. Alright, fuck you, nigga. Like, I don't care. At the end of the day, we still got, now since you left, we've had double-digit wins in the back-to-back seasons. Even with the worst defense on third down in NFL history, we still won more than 10 games last year. We've already had 10 games already this year. Titans fans, if you ride around the city, you can't help but see like Titans flags everywhere. Everybody's always wearing something Tennessee Titans. I know, because I'm in Nashville and I'm a huge diehard Titans fan. I'm always wearing something Tennessee Titans because I always show my support. Like, if I don't want nothing else for Christmas if it ain't got Titans on it. But this is the fan base you want to shit on. Not the shitty ass Giants fans who, like, literally everybody in, like, there's absolute reason why there's 10 million people in New York City, and there's at least 1 million people that can afford to go to the games and buy tickets and do all this other shit. Even though y'all suck, there's 500,000 people in Nashville. And even though the ticket sales have always sold out within 15 minutes, for the last 20 plus years, Titans tickets have sold out in 15 plus minutes. At 15 or less minutes, I'm sorry. Like, it's not the Titans fans selling our tickets to other teams. It's these companies like Ticketmaster and SeatGeek and all these other bullshit ass fucking companies that come in and price gouge the shit out of anybody in Tennessee for a fucking game. Like, you can go stand in line at the beginning of the season for a fucking ticket, but if you're not there for a day and a half beforehand, then somebody from Ticketmaster or SeatGeek is going to go up there and buy 10,000 fucking tickets, season tickets, cash, and then turn around and sell it to you $5 on the dollar. Like, who the fuck? Everybody in Nashville get beat out of their fucking mind on rent, on everything in their fucking head. And this millionaire asshole wants to talk about fucking how you gotta pay half off for us to get a ticket. That should tell you about why you doing so much charity in this fucking neighborhood. Huh? We're paying, like, Nashville's the stupidest place. We're like, there's New York guys coming down here. There's literally a guy in New York that owns 1,500 houses in Nashville, in Laverne, Nashville, and he's bumped the rent from $800 to $2,500 in that area. That he owns 1,500 houses in. Like, nobody can barely afford rent in Nashville, and you want to talk about your overbloated prices on tickets? The tickets at the Giants actually cost less than the tickets in Tennessee. I wonder why, even though the cost of living down here is way lower than the cost of living in New York City. Yeah, okay. So you stood up for none of the fans in 3 years that you were here when we wanted to go to the games, and we could have bought $150 tickets to actually have a good seat, but those tickets cost $500. Ain't nobody but people from Buffalo or people from Pittsburgh or people from San Francisco that already had the capital to travel that was going to be able to afford those games. So nobody here who's barely moving, whose rent went up in the last 3 years from $800 to $2,500, is going to be able to go now afford games. So for us to say that we're non-existent, it shows that you were non-existent, that you had no idea what the fuck you were looking at as a Titans fan. And I'm glad we didn't resign you. I'm glad you at the Giants. I'm glad you're struggling. I'm glad y'all gonna be terrible for the next fucking couple of years. I'm glad y'all don't have a good pick next year. I'm glad at all this shit. So go fuck off, bro. Because as a person who went to college, graduated with multiple degrees, and barely can get into a Titans game, bro, because of the prices of the game, because there's $125 jerseys at the game, bro, fuck off, bro. I got degrees. I've actually worked my ass off to get where I'm at, and it's still a draw. Like, that's something that would hurt me at the end of the day. I pay you pay $1,000 for a cup for 2 good seats or 3 good seats. You're paying like another $250, $300 for tickets, parking. Fucking, like, they're running your fucking head off here in Tennessee, and they want to blame the fans for not having the capital to do so when New York motherfuckers are drawing us from all the capital that we do have. Yeah, Logan Ryan, go fuck yourself, and I hope you heard this all the way. Alright guys, this is another episode of the Chism Sports Groove. I want to thank, number one, you the fans. Please like, subscribe, share to whoever the fuck you want to. Like, this video, like, going forward, I definitely want to get you guys to like and subscribe a little bit more. Definitely want to shout out to you guys as well. I also want to thank everybody in the Chism Channel organization that had a hand in putting this together. You already know, guys, I can't do this shit without you guys as well. All right, I'm your host, Jackie Chism. Until we meet again, guys, peace.
Perfect.
brought to you by the Chism Channel and TCC Productions.